Hey everybody, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. It's Let's Talk About It Tuesday, and I am Chelselia Cookie Payne, founder of Payne and Glory Incorporated, and your administrator for this particular group, Payne in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry. I hope that you're having a fabulous week so far. Hope that you're having a terrific Tuesday. I hope that you've taken advantage of these 24 hours that you have been blessed with today. We are not finished with the day, so if you have not received the blessings and all the goodness out of your day, if today has been a challenge for you, if today has been a little rough for you, there are still hours left in this day to turn that thing around. There are still hours in this day, a day we've never seen before and a day we'll never see again, for you to turn that thing around. Turn it around in your mind, turn it around in your actions, turn it around in whatever way you need to turn it around. Maybe there's some things that you intended on doing this morning that you didn't get a chance to finish, by now. The day's not over. Seize it, do it. Maybe there's some things that someone that you meant to call, had on your mind and you wanted to call them. The day is not over. In this 24 hours that we've been blessed to have, I know part of it we were sleeping, part of it we were working, but while there's still time in this 24-hour period, don't allow the next day to come without you getting something that you had planned to accomplish today accomplished. Don't let this day go by without having something that you can claim as your own, whether it is a smile, your joy, your peace, whatever it is that you want to grab hold to before this day ends. Whether you're watching right now on this 7 o'clock hour of Tuesday, June 26th, or you're watching the replay at whatever time that you're watching this, it's still 24 hours in your day. And it's still time for you to grab hold to whatever it is you need to do, accomplish, feel, be, do. Because this day we'll never see again. This day is going to be in the history books soon. And so if that's the case, and there's only one day like this one, and if there's only this 24 hours like this one, why not do the things you haven't done yet? Why not write in that journal? Why not finish writing that book? Why not write a page in the book? Why not give, like I said a moment ago, give someone a call that you haven't called in a while? Why not go do something different with your hair or rearrange things in your house? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, make something in this 24-hour period matter for you, whatever that means. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It can be you washing the dishes. Maybe you're used to loading the dishwasher. Maybe this time you want to go old school and get your hands sudsy and wash the dishes by hand instead of putting them in the dishwasher. And you just get in a mode where you're just concentrating on nothing or thinking about plans. But don't let your 24 hours go without you grabbing hold to something that brings you joy. Okay? Okay. So listen, as I said, it's Let's Talk About It Tuesday. And tonight's topic is not going to be long. I'm not going to be long unless there are questions or comments or we get into talking about things. But listen, it's not going to be long because this topic is an emotional one. It's a necessary one because listen, you've seen the news. You don't even need to turn on the news. If you have gone outside of your house, gone to the grocery store, even in your own families, you know that childhood trauma is a real thing. You might not have known what to call it. You might not have known how to identify it, but you know it's real. You know it's real. You've seen kids maybe in the mall or in the store and at church or wherever, and they're little kids, 10 and under, little kids, young kids, and maybe they're acting out, or you think they're acting out, or they're acting differently, and you don't, and we immediately jump to, if that was my kid, or they're in here showing out, or what's wrong with him, or what's wrong with her. it's unfortunate that in those little faces, behind the eyes of those little faces, has seen more than many of us adults have seen, have experienced more than many of us adults have seen, and don't know, if us as adults don't know how to deal with some of the things that we're dealing with emotionally and mentally and even spiritually, there's no way that a child is equipped for this. There's no way that a child is equipped for being abandoned or abused, verbally, emotionally, physically, sexually. They're not equipped for this, for traumatic events. Yeah, when we see current events on the news, when we see children that are being detained and snatched from their families, we're not if you have the news on in front of your children or have the radio on in the car, you're not the only ones that hear that. Your kids hear that too. Imagine how traumatizing it is for a kid to hear that at any moment that someone could come and take them from their family. That's what happened to the children of the immigrants. And in their mind, there's no distinction between what happened to those kids and what could happen to them. It's traumatic. It's traumatic. So what I did was I looked up types of childhood trauma. Types of childhood trauma. These are just a few. It's not the full list, but this is types of childhood trauma. It says the Adverse Childhood Experience Study. Let me move this over because I have my laptop open and part of it's blocked. Let me do this more than one way. It says here, the National Institute of Mental Health, USA, defines childhood trauma as the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful or distressful. That is emotionally painful or distressful. Keep in mind, we're talking about children. Children, and I'm going to get to the age in just a moment, ages. Which often leads to lasting mental and physical effects. However, pay close attention to this. However, with the right support, it is possible to recover even from extreme early trauma. It is possible to recover. It is possible to recover. You can't buy into the lie or the myth that I'm always going to be like this. This is coming from adults who have experienced childhood trauma. With the right support, you can recover. Types of childhood abuse. It says the Adverse Childhood Experience Study classifies childhood trauma in 10 categories. Now, we're not going to go through all 10, but these are within the categories. Abuse of child. And it says here emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. That's abuse of child. Those are the abuses. The second bullet says trauma in child's household environment. Trauma in child's household environment, which includes substance abuse, parental separation and or divorce, mentally ill or suicidal household member, violence to mother, imprisoned household member. Let's stop right there for a minute. People are forgetting these babies have feelings, emotions, thoughts, anxieties. People are forgetting that the children are in the room and in the house. Their selfish acts in some cases are defining and shaping the mindset of these children who are going through all sorts of symptoms of depression and anxiety, but they're being looked over as they're just a kid. What do they know? What do they understand? Or they're just being bad. No, you might want to look into why little Johnny or little Susie is always crying, is always screaming, is always having a tantrum, is always wet in the bed, always always sad, always acting out, always having outbursts. Always? Always. The last bullet on here says neglect of child, which goes on to say abandonment, child's basic physical and or emotional needs unmet. That's where I come into what I said a moment ago about selfishness. As parents, as caregivers, selfishness when you have a child that you have abandoned and you don't even take care of their basic physical and or emotional needs, but you want yours to be considered. You want someone to look out for you. You want someone to pity you or to take care of you or to whatever. And when I say you, I'm not specifically talking to you, the person, the people, viewing this, but in general, the people who are inflicting this kind of harm on children. Children. Early childhood trauma generally refers to the traumatic experiences that occur to children aged 0 to 6. Let's go back to that last bullet that I just read. Neglect of child, abandonment, child's basic physical and or emotional needs unmet. And then I come down here and read early childhood trauma refers to the traumatic experiences that occur to children age 0 to 6. This makes my heart hurt. It says young children may experience traumatic stress from interpersonal traumas, accidents, natural disasters, and even civil unrest, as well as medical procedures or the sudden loss of a parent or caregiver. What are we doing as a society, as a people, as a community, as a tribe? What are we doing to help the kids? What happened to organizations that had mentorship programs and that weren't abusing the kids? And, summer camps where churches would have, what happened to Vacation Bible Study? I think that's what it's called, or Vacation Bible School. I think something like that in the summertime where the churches would have things for the kids. What happened to those? What happened to It Takes a Village? What happened to that? What happened? So now we're in an age where tablets and laptops, video games, and social media are the babysitters of today. Games and reality shows are shaping the minds of our children. And I'm not even talking about teens and tweens. I'm not talking about millennials. I'm talking about these babies, 10 and under. When we are in a time where parents, male or female, will put the opposite sex before their children, the needs of their own personal needs before that of their own children. And there's no trauma there. There's no stability. There's no consistency. And there's no trauma there. There's trauma. There's trauma. And the thing is, it's more prevalent. Because years ago we didn't know the names of kids that were killed. Typically we didn't know because it wasn't as rampant then as it was now. But now we know the name Tamir Rice. We know his name. And we as adults know his name, and kids know his name. And even if they don't know his name, they know what happened to him. They know about, they're doing drills. When I was in school, we did tornado drills. Now they're doing active shooter drills. How traumatizing is that? I mean, come on. Even in the best of households, when you have to have conversations with your children about what to do if you're pulled over in a car and your children in the back seat, what are you supposed to do? Traumatic. Used to be we had to be in the house before the street lights came on because we wanted to be safe, and our parents wanted us to be safe, and it just was right that children be in before it gets dark. Now kids are up and out and with the parents, and in the house while the parents smoking who knows what, drinking who knows what, with no regard. What happened? Priscilla, you are so right. Yeah, you are so right. And thank you for joining. As I said, this broadcast, I didn't even intend to be long because it's so heartbreaking, and I really just, it makes me want to cry. It really does make me want to cry because we see it. Like, it's not something that we see on TV. Yes, we do. We do see it on TV. We can act like we don't, but we do. We see it on TV. But we see it like every day. You tell me you go to a grocery store and don't see it. You don't see these kids or people who work in the school systems. That my heart breaks for them, the ones that are really educators who really love the kids and not there for a paycheck, who are not adding to the trauma. Let's be clear on that. But my heart breaks for the educators who were in the elementary schools, who can only do so much, who can only say so much, who when there are situations where they have to step in and there are protocols in place, where do these babies go? What did more trauma? More trauma? Or either they're labeled because they act out and they don't know why they're acting out. They're acting out because of what's going on at home, and no one is helping them to deal with these emotions that are raging rampant through them. No one is explaining to them why Papa passed away, or what happened to their pet that died, or why is Mama in there crying, or why is Daddy always screaming, or why is Mama always leaving us, or why is Daddy always gone. Nobody's talking to these babies and getting them the support, as I read a moment ago, that they need. Because yes, childhood trauma can be recovered from, and they can live healthy, productive, wonderful lives. But who's going to know that if no one's paying attention to them and throwing them away and just saying they'll be all right? Will they? Because truth be told, are you? There are adults now, and I say that because there are adults right now who experience trauma on some level. It may not have been physical, maybe it was emotional, maybe it was verbal, maybe it was a life experience, like I read earlier about civil unrest. It could have been anything. It could have been anything. The death of a loved one that as a child affected you differently than anyone else, and you held on to it and you grew up with that and nobody addressed it. And it perpetuates itself. Childhood trauma, if not treated, does not get better. With support, it does. With treatment, it does. But who's helping these babies? Who's getting them the help? What happened to the organizations, the groups, the churches? What happened to the mentor programs? What happened? What happened to the real grandmamas that didn't even have to be your grandmama, but nowadays grandmamas are under 40. Truth be told. Am I making it up? Nope. What happened to the community? If something wasn't right, there was love and there was embracing. There wasn't anything that was pedophilic, but it was actual genuine care and concern for these children. What happened? Was it just when I was growing up? Do people just care then? Can't be. And the thing is, I can't even compare my childhood to what the childhood of my son and my nieces and nephews and those that are in this generation. I can't compare my childhood to theirs. So I didn't have to deal with this. There was no social media. There was no administration like what we have now. There was no, every day I turn on the news and someone that looks like me is in the news because something tragic has happened to them. I didn't, the worst, to be honest, I make, this is not to be funny or to sound, but the worst that I can remember when I was younger growing up was the Atlanta missing and murdered children. That was scary. That was scary. But not like today. Not like today. So I encourage you, if you have loved ones, family members, little kids in your family, not even little, little kids, teens, tweens, listen, love on them, support them. If you see something that you think may be a little different about their behavior, maybe they're quieter now. Maybe they don't, maybe their behavior is a little different than what you're accustomed to. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to it. And not just pay attention to it, act on it. Talk to them. Is everything okay? And they may not even know how to articulate. You know how to talk to them. Talk to them. A lot of times these kids are getting hollered at so much. Good Lord. They're getting hollered at so much that nobody's listening to them. They're getting fussed at so much for trying to express how they feel because they don't know how to verbalize what is going on internally, but instead they're getting shut down and shut out and hollered at when there's really something going on. And what if, even if it's not something traumatic, gosh almighty, you probably may be exacerbating the situation by not even allowing the kid to even get a thought out. Now, I'm not saying let the kid be disrespectful, but our kids don't need to be hollered at all the time to get the point across. Just food for thought. Listen, I am Chelsea Cookie Payne, founder of Pain and Glory Incorporated and the administrator of this particular group, Pain and Abuse Mental Health, Mental Health and Ministry. I thank you for joining on this evening. Don't forget what I said at the top of this broadcast. It is only 24 hours in this day, and there are a few hours left to go. If you haven't grabbed hold to every benefit and blessing that is loaded in this day for you, grab it. I don't care if it's a small morsel. I don't care if it's a big chunk. Whatever it is that you need to get out of your day today to make it a little bit better. Even if your day, you've been struggling all day. Even if you have just been going through it all day, take a moment, grab a chunk or grab a morsel and make something good. I don't care if it's writing, as I said earlier, writing in your journal, reading a book, writing a book, whatever, going for a walk in your neighborhood, cleaning out your car, whatever, I don't care. Do something that makes you smile. I have a friend who cleaning does it for her. I told her I'd give her my address and she can come on over. But for her, cleaning is what, it gets her in a zone. It gets her mind centered and she just loves that experience. That brings her joy. Whatever it is for you, it's your 24 hours. You're never going to see this day again. So if I'm never going to see this day again, I might as well make the best of it. I don't care if this is the best day I've had in 2018 or one of the most challenging ones. Get it. Get what you're supposed to get out of this day. The Bible says that we're loaded daily with benefits. What benefits have you reaped today? Don't let it pass you by. And if you don't know what benefit you're supposed to get, ask God. What am I supposed to be getting today? Show it to me. Let me get it. Let me understand it. I don't want to miss out. Because breath and life and energy and peace, these are all wonderful benefits. but there's so much more. As he said, he loaded us with benefits. I love you guys with the love of Christ. Have a wonderful evening and know that I love you. Take care.